Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR. Mac and me, my name's TJ. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
Share the hell out of this.
Yep. And to our Rumble supporters, thank you very, very much. In this segment, we're going to talk about something that has been going on for 9 months. 9 months. Last year, June 5th, 2024, two NASA astronauts, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, launched into space for what was supposed to be an 8-day mission. Their spacecraft was Boeing Starliner, and 9 months later, they're still up in space at the International Space Station. Okay. When their craft launched, when the Boeing Starliner launched, they had it was known that they had a hydrogen helium leak, but it wasn't deemed critical, so they launched anyways. At least that's the news report I read, and that would be my disclaimer. Okay. But the news report I read said, hey, they knew of the leak, but they didn't deem it critical. Okay. You know what? Maybe like a piece of foam. Lest we think back to the Challenger mishap. But anyways, but once the craft was in orbit in space, the leak became pretty bad from the way I read it. And they were like, we can't bring them back, And actually, I don't know whatever happened to the Boeing Starcraft. I don't know if they brought it back remotely or if it's still up there orbiting. You know what? I don't know. But we know the two astronauts are still up there. Okay. And I will confess, this was something I heard about, but given the election season and this and that, it's almost like you hear about it, and then so much is going on, you forget about it. Only for a couple months later, you hear about it again, and you think, and I don't know about you, Mac, but I'm thinking, wow, they're still up there. They're still up there, And
Yeah.
and then I heard Elon was going to go up and get them, and I was like, oh, okay, and forgot about it again, only to find out a couple months later, what? They're still up there? Elon didn't get them? And of course, I'm wondering, what the heck's going on,
Right.
And it was, and then, like I said, whether it be the attempted assassination or, because I'll tell you what put it on the back burner was November elections and everything else, and then the transition and Trump being Trump and everyone hating Trump and so I think it was Elon in a podcast. I want to say a Joe Rogan podcast where it got brought up. It almost got brought up casually. And Elon says, yeah, I told Biden I could go up there and get them. And it sounded like they were going to do it. And then because of Elon's support for Trump, and they felt that if Elon went up there and rescued the restaurant, if Elon went up there and rescued the astronauts, okay, that would somehow make Trump look better. And well, they can't have that either. And so the astronauts marooned up there, because that's what they are. The astronauts marooned in the International Space Station were turning into political pawns. And
pretty much, yeah.
And so so finally, Trump wins the election. Trump hears about this, and then Trump says to Elon, get up there and bring these guys down. So, basically because of mathematics, velocities, trajectories, orbiting, and this and that, you gotta time it just right for the rendezvous. Okay.
Yeah, there's a window of opportunity, and
yeah,
you have to be within the window, or it closes for X amount of time again.
Yep. So I guess tentatively, unless things change, they were looking at March 20th, which is in about a week or so. All right. And here's the scary thing. Elon has his problems too, because just the other day, one of his experimental spacecrafts exploded. So,
Right.
So hopefully, whatever they're using for this retrieval is more reliable. And Elon seems to think it is. In fact, Elon didn't seem overly concerned over the explosion of his latest spacecraft. It sounds like he's
Well, as
got
you said, well, that's how science works. There are trial, error, and failures, and that's how you succeed in the long haul. And this isn't the first problem they've had, but they've done an awful lot of things successfully. So
yeah.
I'm confident that he'll be able to do it, and I'm confident the media will hate on him for it.
Well, you mentioned the media. I think the media was playing this down because they're in the tank for Biden,
Well,
and
it goes to what they did with, and this is election rigging or election interference, what they did with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
yeah, they're playing it down, and then there was an interview with and I'd like to get his name right, Butch Wilmore. I think, and I could be reading into some of what he said, but I think this Butch Wilmore's pretty much had his fill of it, and he said, yeah, President Biden prevented Elon from coming up here a couple months ago, or some months ago, we'll say, when they did have that window of opportunity. And you think about it. Let's put the human factor into this. Missing out on the Thanksgiving, missing out on Christmas and New Year's. Why? Because the Biden administration is too afraid that it's going to make Trump look good.
Yeah.
And that
well,
just,
had they been transgender astronauts, they'd have been home a day after they were supposed to have been.
and that in itself almost becomes the story of them being marooned up there. I mean, it's bad enough that they're in this situation, but
think about the teacher, Mark Fogel, who was sitting in a Russian prison for 3 years, while Brittany Griner, boy, they couldn't wait to get her out. Her, to be polite, but because that's a dude there, so they couldn't wait to get that person out.
You're absolutely right about that. The one person is sitting in rotten, and upon his return, he gave Trump full credit for basically his I'm gonna call it a rescue from the Russian prison system.
Right.
Okay,
and I wouldn't want to be in prison anywhere, but that's one of the places I would not want to be in prison.
So, anyways, hopefully Elon gets up there in a week and gets him back, and this whole saga comes to an end.
Well, in the legacy media, it'll be barely reported, but in the alternative media, such as ours, it's going to be reported. All the big guys, and I'll reference Dan Bongino and Megyn Kelly and Bill O'Reilly and Joe Rogan. They'll be talking about it. So, hey, you can try to suppress it, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, that just.
Well, you didn't mention the physical toll it takes on you to be in space for 9 months.
I feel guilty for forgetting about it because, like I said, it was one of those things you hear about it, but so much is going on, you forget about it. Then a couple months later, you're like, "What? They're still up there?" And then you forget about it again, and then you hear because you're thinking, "Oh, okay, Elon to the rescue," and then you forget about it, and then a couple months later, what? I thought Elon was going up there to get him. No. So and then you forget about it again, and
people are living life. I mean, I'll cut anybody that slack. They might as well be on Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, for sure.
And Elon's the professor who's going to get him home. Did you see the lady that's on there on the ship? There's a female astronaut.
Yes.
Did you see what it's done to her hair being up in space for 9 months?
It's going everywhere.
Oh my God.
It is going everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was a joke because in one of Trump's statements, they were saying, Trump might have been mildly trying to be a matchmaker because he made the comment, hope they sure like each other up there or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've been up there for so long. And, and you forget about, the effect on them physically, their bones, their muscles. Uh, I'm no physician, but I think for quite some time they're going to have trouble even just walking.
Yeah,
You know?
there's an adjustment period to gravity again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know they try to work out on equipment up there to keep their muscles in shape, but you've got to get reacquainted with gravity. They're not just
Well,
gonna.
I wonder, did they go into rationing mode like on day 9?
I don't know, man.
Because
I
they're
don't know.
saying how long, we have no idea how long we could be up here. And they don't have an infinite amount of food supply.
Well,
Eventually
it's
they'll starve to death and thirst to death.
you know, yeah. In thinking about this whole situation, I'm honestly not surprised because, as far as I'm concerned, the Democrats are now capable of any low.
Well, they murder infants
Yeah,
in the
they're
womb. So
they're
beyond that,
capable of any
anything is
low, and like I said, I really think at least this Butch Wilmore, I believe, you know, because he had the audacity to confirm what Elon said was correct. I read into his confirmation that he's getting tired of the, as I like to say, bovine excrement. You know,
yeah.
so
Well, they'd
that,
love for them to die up there on Trump's watch and blame it on
oh,
Trump.
you know what?
He did nothing to save them.
Exactly. Or you know, heaven forbid something happened to Elon's spacecraft.
Oh yeah, they'd be
Uh,
gleeful.
they you know what? They'd probably throw a party. You know, as horrible as that sounds,
Yeah.
but I that's almost a safe bet. Anyways, I'm just venting and whatnot. Just more of their childishness, their idiocy, their ineptitude. They're all of the above, I say. And I'll keep ranting. So I guess we'll bring this to a close. My rants have now ceased. And we'll catch you all in the next segment. Thanks everyone for your support, especially thanks to you if you're watching us on Rumble. We're really trying to grow on Rumble, and if you're watching us on Rumble, thank you very much. That's it. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.